We're ready for our program. Jeff Dalin is the mayor. That's it, the last name, right?
Dalin. Nobody says it right. That's okay.
He's the mayor of Cornelius. He's been mayor since 2011 and has been re-elected 5 times. He continues to be involved with the Scouts BSA Troop 213 that is turned by our club. So we'll let Jeff take it from there.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. It struck me the other day, and that's why it was great that the Rotary reached out and asked. The Rotary does so much good in the community. It helps out, there's the scholarships, the youth programs, everything that the Rotary is involved in the community. The Rotary, the organization. And it struck me in my new position as the district chair for basically everything from Beaverton to the Coast Range for Boy Scouts. I don't think anyone's ever come and asked you individually if you'd be interested in supporting the Scouts. So that's one of the things I'm going to do today. I'm going to give you guys a little update on what's going on with the troop. You see some nice little pictures from the troop here. I'm going to give you the opportunity to support Boy Scouts of America in our program here in the Northwest. And then we have some very glossy, fancy color brochures produced by the council that give you some of the information I want to share with you. So, against what you may have heard, Boy Scouts are actually returning. They're strong. We did suffer some reduction in membership over the COVID. Amazing. Kids didn't want to do one more Zoom meeting after spending their days on Zoom. They wanted to do things outside. And as our packs and our troops and our crews have started to open up and go back to hiking and camping and everything else that the Scouts do, people started coming back. As a matter of fact, we're basically, our membership in this district, which basically goes from Beaverton to the Coast Range, is back up to the level it was pre-COVID. So we're back up. Last numbers I got from a district executive, our paid scouter, was there's about 1,300 youth involved in this area, plus leaders, plus paid professionals, but about 1,300 youth. So it's not our peak, but it's really good to see us get back to our pre-pandemic levels. And as we continue to do things, this is our second year, we actually had summer camp. A very different summer camp in 2021. Basically, you went with your troop, and you stayed with your troop, and you went wherever the troop went. It was kind of like the Peanuts, where you always saw the little birds following Snoopy. That's the way they did it in 2021. 22, we returned to our previous method, which is grab a buddy, go to your course. And they got a lot more opportunity to be independent, to really explore and learn and do things in an environment of supervision and opportunity, but being able to grab your buddy and say, hey, we're going to go do fingerprinting. Hey, we're going to go down and do swimming. Hey, we're going to go over to the BB gun range or the 22 range, and we're going to go to the climbing rock, and they're going to go do the scaling. But you always had to get a buddy, and you guys went. So it was really cool to see it return to that this year, which is what it historically has always been. You go to camp with your scout leader and a couple other adults, and then you kind of have this opportunity to adventure around the camp in kind of that environment. They had the polar bear swim. Anybody participated in a polar bear swim or a polar bear opportunity? Yeah. Okay. They do it at the ocean. It's invigorating to be at the ocean at sunrise. So that's one of the big things during the week is to do the polar bear swim. I tell you all this because I want to tell you some of the other fun stuff. Who here has been to a Boy Scout camp at some point in time? Okay. What is the stinkiest place in a Boy Scout camp?
Kaibos.
Bingo.
Oh, I was going to say the other person said that.
It depends, right? It depends if your tent mate understands the experience of deodorant or showering, but it's probably the Kaibo. One of the things we've done with the money that folks have donated.
What's a Kaibo?
That is what Scouts call a restroom.
Thank you.
And historically, the restroom has been a shed with a toilet seat and a nice open pit full of aromatic flavors. That was why everybody knew what a kaibo was and what it'd been like to be in the stinkiest place in the scout camp. The money that's been donated over the last couple of years has been, a lot of it has been driven into improvements that the users of the scout camp said, hey, we all hate the kaibo for the same reason. What can we do about that? The kaibos are all still there, but they have flush toilets on them now. Yeah, it's amazing the difference you get when you have a little water between you and everything else in the world. It makes a big difference. Have you sampled one of the new improved kaibos?
Yeah, big improvement.
It is a big improvement, isn't it?
Especially for the adult leaders that have to tolerate that.
Right. But that was one of the, they basically did a bunch of surveys. We had a bunch of downtime during 2020, and they went out and asked what kind of improvements need to be done. And this is one of them. They put that in. Shower facilities. The old shower facilities were much more like the pool here at the community center, right? You go in and it's just like, hi everybody, we'll just be showering together, thank you very much. They put in individual shower booths. Just like if maybe you've been to a KOA or some of the nicer state campgrounds where you walk up, you open the door, there's your bench, a place to get dressed, undressed, your own shower. Now we have shower booths, and they're individually accessible. You could have a youth in this one, you could have an adult in that one, there's no connection other than the water pipes, but you could do these things. So that's been some of the stuff. People have said, hey, we'd like to go camping, but community showers, the toilets, not so much. Tim spoke about the wonders of tent mates. A lot of the camps have been upgraded, and depending on who you ask, what's a common term you may have heard for the new structures where you tent camp?
Yurts.
No, nothing that fancy.
Not the old Adirondacks.
Right, we had the Adirondacks, which was really a really nice way of saying we bought some Korean surplus tents and put them over a pad of wood. A lot of them now have an upgraded Adirondack, which is somewhat what's called the doghouse. It's literally a steel structure, it's got a sealed roof, and it's kind of like there's somewhere between a shed and a doghouse. But the difference is you bring your tarp, you hang your tarp up on the front door, and you have a reasonable modicum of privacy. And it's dry. Anyone ever slept in a little surplus Korean tent? How waterproof are they usually? Like a strainer, right? You turn a strainer
Don't
to
touch anything really.
right. So that's been one of those improvements, right? So these are the kind of things we're making improvements that the users have asked for, right? We still have lots of places where we can tent camp. We still have plenty of property where we do that. We hike, we do all that stuff. But we've done some improvements in the facilities, and that's what some of the money is used for. Another big thing that we focused on is everyone should be able to go to camp if they want. And that says scholarships. So some of the money that folks have put together goes into scholarships. And that allows folks that could not afford it. And I think it's a fairly reasonable amount, but it's about $350 to go to camp for a week. That's food, that's your place, that takes care of everything, the staff, all of it, for about $350 a week. Being able to afford that is not in everyone's budget, right? We don't want, and our troop specifically does not want finances to be a burden to participating in the program. So we were very happy to see that become available. We have a troop scholarship fund, and the council has a healthy scholarship fund that's been supported by the Camp for All program. So that's some of the places the money goes. That's what I wanted to share with you, and I want to give you the opportunity. If you saw it on your table, there's some little cards. If you need more, I've got more. But I wanted to present the opportunity to you as individuals to support the program that you already support as a club. So that's one of the things I wanted to accomplish today. Check the box if you want. If you want to do it here, you can do it on the form. If you're digitally inclined, they'd love you to do it online. There's basically where you can get on there and you can donate it. They can sign up for an amount monthly, quarterly, individually, bill me like OPB, Boy Scouts of America will figure out a way for you to be able to provide that donation. So that's one. The other one I wanted to talk to you about was your own troop, Troop 213, right? You guys, we've been associated, I think I saw on the record since like 1938 that you guys have been our charter org. That's why I thought I saw on the forum. So I wanted to share some of the things on here. And if you've got, I put one of these at each table. I didn't know how many people there'd be, and especially in August, how many people take vacation. So, but basically you can see some of the things. That National Night Out picture was from first Tuesday of the month. That was National Night Out. We built our traditional monkey bridge in the park there in Cornelius, Harlem, and the Scouts were helping youth cross the monkey bridge. It's something they all enjoy. Top right is Paul's Eagle Scout project. We've had multiple Eagle Scout projects. We continued to have them during COVID. We still end up with a couple, maybe 3 Eagles, youth that make it to that ultimate level before their 18th birthday. And this one for Paul's was at Open Door Counseling. They actually, Paul had reached out to them. His mom had said, you know, you should do something for the community. And Paul looked around, he saw Open Door, and he says, well, what do you guys need? And they said, well, that big white tent you see in the corner, that's where we allow people to come and stay if it's really hot or it's really cold. We allow them to come in, set up their tent in there for the homeless, and that gives them some place to be fed and warmed, but only during those most extreme conditions. They said the problem is gravel is all sunk down, and now it's not really a tent, it's kind of a covered, shallow pool. And what Paul did was set up and organize and program out, we're going to spread several inches of gravel throughout that entire tent and get it back up above the surrounding water area. And I could see Paul on Tuesday before our meeting, and he is literally shaking with concern. Jeff, I only had 2 people sign up for Saturday for our Eagle project. What am I going to do if nobody shows up? And I said, Paul, how many Eagle projects have you done? Dozens. Okay. Has any of them ever had nobody show up? No. Did you talk to any of the older boys about how many people said they would be there before the project? No. He said, don't worry about it. I'll be there, our family will be there. I'm sure you'll be okay on Saturday. He scheduled it for 2 weekends, long morning days until it would get hot, and then we'd be done. 90 minutes in these Paul's project, the 25 people had completed their work. So no problem for volunteers showing up. He had search and rescue people there, he had people from his church, and he had basically all the youth and their parents from the church. You can see that's a group of our scouts heading off, and their new, really, this picture doesn't do honor to how orange those shirts are that they got for summer camp. They are abusively orange. You walk in the room, you know somebody's in there. Youth went, they just came back Saturday, so summer program, and they went to Pioneer. That took me a second where to go. Pioneer, if you see on the little map, we've got Scout facilities. We're fortunate to have facilities all over the area. 2 lodges on Mount Hood for winter lodge work, and we've got camp up and down the Cascades in 2 or 3 places, and in the Coast Range also. One of the other pictures, Memorial Day, we do 2 different Memorial Day activities. One at Forest View, where we put in all the little, Forest View is the lower. Forest View, we put in all the big flags like you see in this picture. So those are former, I don't know if former is the right word, those are casket flags. So those flags have been on a veteran's casket, and they were donated by the family to be flown along the road on Memorial Day for, and that's one of the things the Scouts do is they set up those flags on all the drives through Forest View, the cemetery back behind the school. That morning, also the next morning, we also go and do all the little flags, all the individual ones at Mountain. So it's busy. So I normally cook hot dogs, hamburgers, whatever the kids want Friday night while they're doing flags and setting things up. And then Saturday morning we do donuts and flags again. So my boys have been doing it since they were little bitty Scouts. Another picture there for our cycling merit badge. Obviously we continue to meet outside. We're very fortunate to be able to meet in Swallowtail in Cornelius. The school loves to have us there. It's one more use of the school at night. Somebody's there one night, so that's less than school sitting around open. And then obviously I didn't even put a title on it because you see BSA Troop 213 Christmas trees, sponsored by the Forest Grove Rotary right there on our sign. So we are looking for more trees. My grower said, you've just about cut me empty. So I've got a couple different small growers lined up for 100 trees about each. So if anybody has a suggestion, a neighbor that has Christmas trees, get a hold of me. I'd be loving to talk to them about selling some trees. Historically, we've sold as many as 500 trees at the tree stand. The last few years, I've only been able to get 200 trees to put on the stand because it's a lot of them are getting shipped out of state by the truck. So not a problem for the growers, just a problem for us. So that's what I had prepared to talk to you about with Scouts. That's lots of the time. Is there any questions?
I have some questions.
Oh, yeah.
So I might have missed this. How many are in the local troop?
In the local troop, we have about 24 registered, I think. Youth.
And what age group does it start in at?
Scouts BSA goes 11 to 18.
Okay.
And then below that is the pack level. And that's basically, now it starts at kindergarten and goes until they're old enough to cross over to Scouts BSA.
And we had a program, it was several years ago, not by yourself, but it was an update on like the Boy Scouts of America and how I thought it had become like almost a co-ed organization.
It is.
Okay, can you maybe refresh what that looks like or so what does that look like? Like, do you have both boys and girls in your club and do they all go to camp together or like what does that experience look like?
We have not been very successful in recruiting a new group of girls. We had a group of girls come through when they opened up the program. Previously, I had what's called a venturing crew, and they are 14 to 21, and that is a true co-ed organization. They are all peers, all mixed together in that particular program, 14 to 21. Boy Scouts runs it in a semi-co-ed program, so you have a female troop and a male troop, and in our case we had both a female troop and a male troop. We had enough to make up a patrol of young women, and they've all aged out, and as we tried to recruit, nobody's stuck. And that's part of the problem, right? When you have a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds, it's hard to recruit 11-year-olds unless you can get enough of them to make them on patrol. But we do have a complete side-by-side organization. We share the same committee. You guys were our charter organization for both troops. Basically, it's the same adults, but because of the VSA rules, they say we have a girls group or a female and a male group. Yeah.
Is there more than one pack that feeds into this 213?
Yeah, the 213.
Yeah.
169. Historically, our troop has gotten folks from Western Washington County. Gaston, Banks, North Plains, Cornelius, Forest Grove, and the county in between.
But there's in Forest Grove, Cornelius, there's generally speaking, there's one Cub Scout pack.
There's 169 at the Elks.
Okay. And how are they doing with recruiting boys
They're
and girls?
They have a handful of girls.
Okay, so that's
smattered
potentially
they could get some crossovers. Yes.
A link to girls troop.
Yeah.
And is it 5213? Do you know?
Yeah, 52. We have 213 and 5213.
Okay.
We did not recharter 5213 as all of our girls, all of our young women aged out. They're all in college somewhere now.
Good.
Other questions? Yeah.
I know that traditionally the Mormon Church sponsors the Boy Scout troop. Do they include the girls in their troops?
The Latter-day Saints diverted from Boy Scouts 2017, 18?
Around the same time with this all.
Right. Basically, the National said next year there will be girls 18 to 5 in packs and troops. And LDS said, we don't think that's a great idea. We're going to go do our own thing. So they stepped away. Some of the LDS groups continued on and stayed with Boy Scouts, or they went to their own program internally.
How many Boy Scout troops are actually in the Forest Grove greater area? Is it
We've
just?
got 2 troops. There's a recently started one at, I think, the American Legion. And then there's one at Gaston, there's 213, there's one at Banks.
Okay.
There's 73 units between the Coast Range and the inclusion of Beaverton. And that includes about 35 of those are troops and the rest are packs.
So now that you're a kahuna within Boy BSA.
More responsibility, still
Less-
the same pay.
Yeah, zero. Zero pay. I know that job. What I'm interested in knowing is who is running Troop 213 then locally? Is that still Rocky?
Rocky, I don't think I'm talking out of turn. Rocky developed Lou Garrix, and he had to step down, and he's since moved out of state for a experimental program in Oklahoma. So Rocky retired. We now have Pete, and I've got to make sure I don't know. I've got Pete Bauer and Pete Simpson. Pete Simpson's my district executive. Pete Bauer is our new Scoutmaster. And Heather Sturgill has just taken over as our committee chair. Heather is 169's committee chair and Troop 213's committee chair. So, yep, we had a nice transition from Rocky to Pete. They were able to work together for several months before Rocky had to step down. Yeah.
I was thinking about taking $100 either towards Troop 213 or towards Cascade Pacific Council. What would sway me, kind of give me a pitch on if I was on the fence, or to do both? What kind of?
Both is obviously the right answer. You would feel like I feel much better for the donation to both the troop. I will tell you that for the purpose of the troop, our family-based fundraiser that's done within the troop is the same program, but we do that and try to wrap it up by May 31st. And we were very successful. We ended up with $4,500 from the families of the troop donated, and it still goes in the same pot. It goes to council. So if you donate in the name of the troop, it goes to council. If you donate in the name of the council, Pacific Trail is our district in the Cascade Pacific Council. And much like Rotary, right? You got multiple, it keeps growing and changing names as you get higher up. So we got troops, districts, which we have about 75 units in this district, and then Cascade Pacific Council is the North Coast to Hood River, Southern Washington to Woodburn. So it would do good wherever you donate it, and it would be great. You'd feel better for donating more. Yes, other questions? I saw, yeah.
What's the difference between a pack and a troop? And for bringing girls in, so I was a Girl Scout leader when my kids were in school. Why did Boy Scouts try to bring girls over to that side? It seems to me like girls would do fine on their own over here and boys are over here.
I will give you part editorial and part national comment. The editorial portion is, we, Boy Scouts of America, is one of only a few chartered nationals that wasn't co-ed already. If you were in England, it's the Girl Guides and the Boy Guides. They've been a co-ed program where the sisters went to the Girl Guides and the brothers went to the Boy Guides for 150 years. So it's been a long time for them. We just finally turned the corner because editorial part, all the sisters were going to those den meetings, a pack from kindergarten through 10 years old. The sisters were going to Cub Scouts anyways. They were usually hanging out, doing the same arts and crafts, going on the same hikes, doing all the same stuff, but they got 0 belt loops, merit badges, advancements, and were not supposed to wear the uniforms. Now, we have girls all over the council. I brag because one of my scout daughters, because when you're a scout leader, you get 2 types of kids, your own, and all those that come to your house, or you take on car trips, or feed your dog when you're on vacation. My scout daughter, Hannah Banana, was the first female eagle in our district.
Nice.
And she turned 18 right when they said you could start being a Scout BSA instead of venturing. So in 2 years, she did the entire program that others have to do from 11 to 18. She did the entire program, the 2 years she's allotted. So at 20, just before her 20th birthday, she received her eagle. So that's the difference. 5 to 11 is, or 10 and a half is Cub Scouts, and then up to 18 is Boy Scouts, and then decided is the venturing program 14 to 21, which is co-ed complete.
Just, I might comment just to Janet, where you said about Girl Scouts and then Scouts BSA that has is open to girls now too. It's that what the other thing that was happening was that there were the Girl Scout program, and again, I'm not totally familiar with it. I know about cookie sales because I buy those all the time. And their program is very different from the Scouting BSA program. The Scouts program is about outdoors and hiking and backpacking and camping and rappelling and you name it. That's not really what Girl Scouts, their program isn't quite as focused on the outdoors and survival skills and all those kinds of things. So
Cooking and animals and.
right, and so there were girls that they're very different programs. There are girls who were like, well, I want to go, I want to learn how to make campfires and hike in the
I want
mountains
to burn
and
things. I want to do
and so-
community service, right? All the scouts learn about community service. We do service for you, we do food donations, we do all kinds of stuff. And I think that was the big difference, right? So Hannah Banana, my scout daughter, she was a Girl Scout. And her older brother was a Boy Scout. And she got up to the older age and she's like, am I going to go for my gold? Thank you. I can't remember if it's silver or gold. Go for my gold. And she's like, then they announced that they're going to open the program. And she went, whoop, I'm going to do this program. Because she'd been one of the tag-alongs, right? She'd been tagging along to everything we've been doing for years. And she wanted the difference. It's the difference in the program. One of my other scout daughters is working on her PhD in Ireland, and she did get her gold, and she also got the Eagle equivalent in the venturing program before she left to go overseas for college. So it's the difference in the program is which program appeals, and honestly, where you drive your youth, right? Where you put your time is where they end up. Other questions? I feel like they're all coming from over here. I mean, look at you guys too. Well, thank you very much. I've exhausted all the time. Thank you.